I would like to tell you about visiting sites of Lida and its district. Lida is a city of Grodno region of Belarus, the administrative center of the Lida district. It's famous for its magnificent signs and fascinating excursions. Every year, Lida attracts thousands of tourists, and it's not surprising, since every traveler can find for activity to his liking. Lida is mentioned in chronicles from 1118 and in the list of Russian cities between 1387 and 1406. Until the early 14th century, the settlement at Lida was a wooden fortress in Lithuanian proper. In 1323, the Grand Duke of Lithuania, Gediminas, built a brick fortress there. 1380 is generally considered the founding year of the city of Lida. In the 15th century, the town became a place where crafts and trade flourished. Lida was connected with Vilnius, Novogrudok and Minsk. At that time, the town had a market square and 4 streets. In 1588, Lida became the seat of Lida district in Vilnius voivodeship. The population was between 2,000 to 5,000 people. It was a part of Russian Empire. In 1863 and 1873, 2 beer factories were built in Lida. In 1884, the railway Vilnius-Lunenets was finished. In 1907, the railway Molodechno-Mosty was opened. In 1927, there were 22 factories in Lida. Lida city large enough. You can easily reach to Lida from Grodno or Minsk. Depending on the city from which you are traveling to Lida, the distance will be no more than 150 kilometers. This gives travelers the opportunity to get to Lida by car, as well as by bus or rail. Sculptor Vladimir Zhbanov. The most interesting and the most popular landmark of the city is Lida is castle. People say a castle cannot be built on sand. However, it was sand that Lida castle was built on. In spite of its unsteady bay, the castle has been standing for 7 centuries. It was built in the 14th century by the order of Prince Gediminas, and since then its history has rapidly changed. The stone foundation of the castle was laid in 1323. Lida castle was built at a confluence of 2 small rivers, Lidieya and Kamenka, in low and swampy area, and that is why an artificial hill of sand and gravel 6 meters of height was raised before the construction works began. The stones for construction works were dragged from nearby fields by peasants. For 100 years the fortress was gradually destroyed, and only in the beginning of the 20th century it was recognized as a historical value. Now, partially restored castle proudly towers over the city of Lida in its very center. Today, in the castle of Lida, guests receive guests all year round, offering many interesting programs for adults and children. In winter, tourists can ride on a skating rink that made directly in the castle, and in summer participate in the unique Nights Festival Gediminas Castle and enjoy theatrical performances. Tourists are offered a lot of excursions. Lovers of history and medieval culture will not remain indifferent. To the present day, the castle has preserved original loopholes. They are located on the south side of the facade. Dream a feeling of medieval atmosphere. Immerse you in the secret and myths of the Lida castle. There is a famous story about the heroic defense of the fortress. Legend has it that in 1394 Prince Corbett, despite the obvious defeat, ordered all the soldiers to defend the castle to the last breath, but he escaped through the secret passage, leaving his troops alone with the adversaries. The outcome of this battle is not difficult to imagine. All the soldiers perished through the fault of the Corbett. Since then, their ghosts roam the corridors of the castle. The second famous legend tells about the bleeding pines. One day, Christian preachers arrived in Lida in the hope of turning the local people into their faith, but they were rejected and killed by locals and abandoned into a deep pit. For a while, on this place grew pines. One day, one of the locals crooked a branch from the pine and saw with horror and blood dripped from the tree. He told his fellow villagers about this, a sign that time the ancient Lida pine teens unavoidable. This is the many other amazing legends you can learn from experienced guides, and believe us, they will not disappoint you. Next to the castle there is a small, well-maintained green area with a pond of fountains. Of course, Lida Castle being in the city center is surrounded by the proper infrastructure. Here there are restaurants and hotels and ATMs and so on. Of course, in the city of Lida there are another important sites. Lida is a city where Catholic and Orthodox believers easily get along. There is no interreligious strife here, and Christians respect each other. One of them is the Holy Cross Catholic Church, located right next to the castle and was built in 1770. The church is a unique architecture monument of the 18th century in the style of the late Baroque and will not leave anyone indifferent. Next to the church there is the memorial rock in honor of foundation of Lida. Near the church there is a monument to Franciscus Scarina of brilliant sculpture Valery Januszkiewicz. The Orthodox Church of Panteleimon the Healer was built in 2006 near the historical center of the city of Lida. The temple is made in Neo-Byzantine style with high ceilings and a carved wooden altar. Every year, an Orthodox festival takes place in Lida, part of its event organized by the Church of St. Panteleimon. The Central City Library is located in Lida on Leninska Street. Its next house is a bath complex. Funny neighborhood, is not it? At the entrance to the bath, you are greeted by an amazing bath attendant in slates, with a broom and a briefcase from which the fish sticks out. Locals name the bath attendant Vasya. According to the tradition, before visiting the bathhouse, you must always touch Vasya's nose, shake his hand, and even rub a fish, and then you lie, there will be happiness. Do you have some more free time and you want to get to know Lida and its science better? Then pay attention to the line with key. Catholic Chapel of St. Barbara, the locomotive mounted in Lida on a pedestal, some water taps, sun clock, monument bronze town arms, Lida Museum of Local History and Lore, and go to Homestead Alba Ruthenia, and do not pass by restaurants. In them you will try out amazing local cuisine. Lida district has a lot of interesting places which may attract the attention of tourists. Other places of interest include Lida History Museum, Berezovka Museum of Glass Art, as well as many monuments of history and architecture and the Hill of Glory. In the village of Mazejkovo there is a mansion of the 19th century, which belonged to the Romer family. In the village of Tarnovo you can find a mansion invention of the late 19th, early 20th century, which used to belong to the cottage family. The cultural life of the district is rich. One of the main events are the annual festivals of medieval culture in the castle of the Lida, the Festival of Nation Cultures and Lida Region Exhibition. Welcome to Lida. Welcome to Lida and enjoy your trip.